Trey, you wanted to say something I saw earlier.
Yeah, I was thinking about what you're saying, so I...
Oh, yeah, I know what I was going to say. That when you look up there at NPL Houston, it's reflected by how many churches and how many generations. I can just speak for that, the M4 one. There's a lot of professions of faith in that, but it seems to not matter as much as us planting churches. And so when you tell stories or you bring stuff from other countries, sometimes I feel like we're trying to push a model that maybe throws our measuring rod off, because we're all looking at that. I mean, everybody laughs at me because I always bring up the Timothy map, but we're not counting how many disciples. The Timothy map.
Generations of disciples.
Yeah, we don't have that for individuals in the room.
Okay.
But if that were injected within those organic church maps, it would fill that middle wall probably, because there's a lot of disciples, there's a lot of people we touch, and some of them join the church. So if you lead somebody to Christ in China, they're not doing that. They're going to end up in a house church, which you could measure and put a map up and put the characteristics. And so I feel like we're reaching for the wrong thing oftentimes. But I'm here and I keep pushing, but as we discuss this further, I'm just like, there's got to be a different measuring stick than looking at that saying, oh, we got more work to do. Because, man, I'm overloaded with people and carrying burdens and discipling and teaching and training. But if you look at the church gen map, I mean, you would think, man, you guys got a long way to go. And I'm like, shoot, I got enough going on as it is. You know what I'm saying?
I do, bro. Let me ask you a question. So the guys that are not reflected up there, are they still in discipling relationships with you?
Yes.
So what does the Great Commission say?
Go.
And make disciples.
Mm-hmm.
So can we just let that be our barometer?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now we know churches have got to emerge in their wake, but we are in a unique environment, and I hate to use the word legacy church. I don't know why we came up with that term. I like churches that
Traditional sounded bad.
professional centers.
Institutional sounded worse.
Building churches. I love building churches. In fact, let me just do this. I wrote this question down. When you think about legacy churches or building churches, good ones, we all have bad examples, but good ones, what are some of the strengths that come to mind?
Giving.
Financial giving?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sure.
International missions.
Yeah.
Sustainability.
For big ones.
Benevolence, like helping physical needs.
Yeah.
I mean, they can gather a lot of people and have big corporate worship that a lot of people like. So
Growth teaching, not co-teaching, growth.
Yeah, character stuff.
Yeah, very much so.
they're good at like building a culture around their church. So I mean,
No, but there's the strength in cultural identity.
like all this stuff we're mentioning can go into idolatry, of course, but it's a strength to say like, yeah, we're really a part of something.
Absolutely. That's what we're here.
Education.
Think about all the niche ministries that go on. I mean, the way kids are taught, and of course, Josh grew up in house church. And what was your experience with house church in terms of it meeting your needs as a child and a young person?
About my needs.
They loved
He
it.
didn't know anything else.
He didn't know anything else. He didn't know that as a 12-year-old he wasn't supposed to speak up during the Bible study portion and exhort the body. Man, that's pretty cool. I'll take that any day. But if you guys will think in terms of those streams over there, those gen maps, if you'll think all the functions of Legacy Church need to be fulfilled in that movement, and I think we're going to address the issues of sustainability a lot better. If you think in terms of doing that in terms of a local house church, you're going to be frustrated forever. And so what we have to do is figure out in each of those gen maps how we can build that bigger identity. That's why I asked you, do you ever get together in larger settings? The reason being, if you do that from the beginning, it's not reproducible. But there does come a stage where you probably need to be having some more frequent gatherings of the larger body, and you name yourselves. Do you know how important a name is?
Oh, yeah, very much.
It's huge. I mean, some of you guys have heard Chuck Wood talk about, we name our grandchild a Wood. Doesn't matter what, how old they are, they're a Wood. And I found the same thing is true of churches and movements. When you're part of, and you name it, then no one wants to let that die.
That's right.
That's why you see churches that you've driven by them on a little country highway. The paint's just peeling off. There's like 3 cars out front on a Sunday. The church sign is sort of, cockeyed.
I saw it on the way here. It's down to 1854.
Exactly. But since 1854, that sign's still been up.
Yep.
That's the power of a name.
Yes.
And it may be very dead, but the last thing that dies is the name. That's how powerful the identity we have as movements. So,
But see, we're taught, this is what we put in this network, and a name don't matter. We do. Nobody can deny that.
names of persons don't matter, or what do you mean?
Name don't matter. What you call it don't matter. It's not about a name.
I would suggest that you name it whatever you see in here. What I want is I want the believers that I'm working through, when they come to Acts 2, they're like, that's us. There's this identity mindset when they see 1 Corinthians 12. Oh, boom, that's us. We're that. And they have to have some sort of name in their mind. And think about every one of the churches, the church in Ephesus, the church in Corinth, they had a name. All of the 7 churches of Revelation, they had that name. So I know it doesn't matter what I think we've been taught. I'm just telling you, there's power in having a biblical identity and naming it what it is.
You mean like we're the church? We're a church in this location.
Yeah, but I think let's go beyond that. Okay, I would say we're the M4 church or whatever it is.
Right.
People know, hey, we're part of M4. Oh yeah, we're part of M4. There's great power in that because they see that they're bigger than just their local 3/3 expression. And when that's all they see, they're going to start filtering over to the legacy churches because those guys provide something that we're not providing.
I think the challenge is that as leaders in this culture, it's not to then take that to what the culture says. The culture says, okay, so we need to brand it and market it and sell the name.
Right.
And that's a different piece of it. It is idolatry, and it's unhealthy. It's not identity of the kingdom at that point.
You guys call yourselves NPL?
Yeah.
Is there not identity in that?
Yeah.
There's not.
Steve, are you suggesting, let's just take it in for example, networks out there, that each of those even individual churches who are doing 3/3 probably on a weekly basis, that they would just call themselves the M4 church, like every single one of them? Or are you saying it's important for them to have an individual church name, but then also identify under the M4 network label?
I think that's something for you guys to pray about.
Yeah.
But I think it's entirely possible to see a church meeting in a house saying, we're the M4 church that's meeting in Trey's house. We're an M4 church meeting in Guy's house.
Yeah.
That type of thing. And so
Sorry.
No, sorry.
We just came from North Carolina, dealing with a lot of NCL leaders, and First Wilson, who's in North Carolina. I think it's a great example of, they're seeing some really cool stuff happen that God is doing, and all of their churches that meet in homes fall under the label of Grace Community. The name, and so they identify themselves with that, and then see themselves as a collective whole. And I agree, let's pray about it, and it may not be the same for
it may not be the same for
every
each one.
To me, you affirm what what I see with our culture anyway. It's like you want to belong to a family. Gang members want to belong to a gang.
Yeah.
That's why they identify themselves, Crip, Blood, Stone, whatever they're going to be. And it means something because they're going to represent that.
That's right.
And so like we see Out the Box Church has kind of utilized that to say, do you want to be, but sometimes I feel guilty, like, well, no, just call it what you want, bro. I mean, I don't want to be kind of putting my name on it, you know, but it ain't, it's more like the family of Out the Box Churches. Here's who we are, and we multiply, there's eldership, and we're all part of the M4 network. And so that's kind of the structure, but there's kind of, I don't know where it comes from, but I feel like there's a guilt in that of saying, yeah, we're Out the Box Churches, and, you know, M4 network is our network.
I think the tension is under autonomy in the local church.
Sure.
We want to be autonomous, but also work together. And so I don't want to step on the autonomy of that local body. But at the same time, I think it's really important for us to work together. Because I feel like the stuff that we do in the East is almost easy compared to here. Because I feel like that I'm herding fleas and leading cats. And it's a mess.
Hey, so can I make some suggestions?
Appreciate it, guys.
In all likelihood, Laura and I, we're hoping to stay tonight and be with you tomorrow morning, but that means we won't be with you tomorrow afternoon and Sunday. So there's going to be a lot of individual applications. So can I suggest this as one application activity? And that is to list everything that you feel like is the strength of a legacy church, a healthy legacy church. And ask the question, how can my stream, how can my network provide all of those things? Because that's going to be a key to your sustainability. And part of that's going to be identity. And it doesn't mean that the house church doesn't have autonomy, but there is power in being semi-codependent in a good way, where we know we're part of something bigger, and there's good oversight from up higher. Okay, people are speaking into us, and we always ought to have people that disciple us and people we're discipling, right? So that's a godly thing. It's just I was taught, as a Baptist, being raised all my life as a Southern Baptist. Every church is completely autonomous. Don't you dare let anyone from higher up speak into you. Well, it's because we were reacting against the Catholics. We didn't like what the Catholics did, so we did everything that was the opposite of the Catholics. But do you ever see in the Bible people from the outside speaking into local churches?
Absolutely. Listed at every fest.
Exactly. So there is a way to do this in a healthy way. All right. So that's one suggestion I'd make for you guys for application tomorrow afternoon or Sunday morning. Okay. There's something else in Judges chapter 7. You don't have to turn there, but I'll just reference it. Gideon is leading. Remember, he had the 30,000 men, and they whittled it down. He finally got 300 men with 300 trumpets, 300 torches. They stand on three sides around the Midianite camp, and they smash the pitchers that have got the torches in them, so that suddenly the 300 torches are being lit around the camp. They raise their trumpets and blow their trumpets, and then they make a shout. What was the shout?
For the Lord and for Gideon.
Whoa.
That's good.
That sounds heretical.
That's good.
But you see, God's always given, when He has His people follow Him, He always gives them shepherds, apostles, leaders to follow in that and that. And they have this sense of identity. We're part of Gideon's army.
David's mighty men.
David's mighty men.
Yeah.
Bingo. So if you can do it in a non-idolatrous way, so you don't mimic the things that are idolatrous in the legacy church, but do the things that are healthy. And I think we're going to be on to some better sustainability.